Alright guys, today is another episode of the best of the rest, so without further ado I'll get into it with Brighton beating Spurs 1-0. I watched this game in London, so I wasn't best concentrated. I had slightly bigger things on my mind at the time, aka an FA Cup semi-final, but from what I did see, which was the majority of the game, it just looked like Spurs failed to create anything. They were really sluggish. I thought, however, you could also argue that Brighton did defend quite well. They allowed Harry Kane very little time on the ball. In fact, I can't think of any moment in the game where Harry Kane produced anything of note. Kukurea completely marked Kulusevski out of the game. So you could say Cuckoo got the better of Kulu. I'll stop. Son had a couple of half chances, but the player who won Brighton the game was Leandro Trossard. And I mean that in two ways. One, he scored the winner, but the Tottenham's best chance of the game, he did really well to block a Heung-min Son effort from the penalty spot area. Which contributed massively to the final result. And the actual contribution that did lead to the final result from Trossard was really well taken goal. He picked up a loose ball on the edge of the box, sort of made a feinted turn inside, so he sort of dropped the shoulder a bit and completely sent Eric Dyer the wrong way. And then used the outside of his foot to just sort of poke it past Lloris in the Tottenham net and make it 1-0 to Brighton. And that was at the 90th minute, so very little time for Spurs to come back from it. But Spurs just really sluggish. It's one of their poorer performances in recent weeks, as since the start of March they've been on quite a good run, to be fair. Like some of the games that come to mind are the Everton thrashing, Newcastle 5-1 win, I think. So they won 5-0 v Everton, 5-1 v Newcastle, 4-0 v Leeds, I think, 4-0 v Villa. So they've had some really good results in recent weeks. But yeah, this was just clearly an off day. But Brighton were very good. And one player to look out for Brighton towards the end of this season, and definitely next season as well, is Enoch Mwepu. He hasn't played as much as I think Brighton fans would have wanted this season. But he's definitely put in a good few performances. He played well against Arsenal last week, scored a really good winner. He had a decent game against Tottenham on Saturday, and I remember he also scored a really good goal at Anfield in October, which was, I think it was the first goal that Brighton scored in that game, so I don't think it was the equaliser. I think Trossard got the equaliser. But yeah, he does look like a really good player. And yeah, I'm just trying to think. No, you'd think this would be Arsenal's dream, with Tottenham playing well recently and Arsenal having a couple of bumps in the road. Well, they managed to make it 3 in a row straight afterwards by losing to Southampton, which, I mean, that was their big chance to, go back on the front foot in the race for that 4th spot. And they lost, and West Ham even failed to get a win against Burnley at home. So, I mean, for United, it's been a cracking week. Even though they only just edged out Norwich, that is still, at least 2 points gained on all of their rivals for top 4. I think United are in 5th now, so, they're not out of it just yet. But yeah, I mean, disappointing from Spurs. And Brighton, yeah, good performance. Some very good performances from individual players like Kukurea, Mwepu, Trossard. Lamptey also had a decent game, I thought, as well. So, yeah, positive performance for Brighton, negative performance for Tottenham, to say the least. And then Newcastle also beat Leicester 2-1. And in this game, it felt like a very end of season game. You know, two mid table teams with nothing to really play for now. Both safe from relegation, but at the same time, neither one's going to be close to a European spot. And yeah, there were a few moments, like talking points in it. The opening goal was really well worked from Ademola Lookman, really good corner. In fact, I remember from when Brendan Rodgers was manager of Liverpool that when it came to set pieces, he seemed to be terrible at coaching his side to defend them, but he was good at creating a set piece or a corner that was like really intricate and well worked. And this was one of them. Jose Perez flicked it back at the front post, and it fell to Lookman, and he got enough power on it to sort of squeeze it through Martin Dubravka's legs and make it 1-0. But Newcastle did equalise about 10 minutes later through their new fan favourite, Bruno Guimaraes. Really well. How do I put it? The goal wasn't one that will be on a goal of the season reel at the end of the season. Just a big scramble. Schmeichel had the ball underneath him. He couldn't get his hands on it, and Guimaraes managed to kick it about 3 times before eventually squeezing it through. Originally, it was disallowed. I couldn't understand what for. Schmeichel hasn't got either of his hands on the ball. So that it was correctly overturned by VAR. And yeah, it made it 1-1. And from that point on, the Newcastle had a few moments in the remaining, well, in the second half really. But other than that, it just felt like both teams were settling for the point. But then with about 20 seconds to go, Joe Willock picks up the ball in his own half. Turns, I think it was a right back. I can't even remember who it was now. But he turns his man and sprints with it down the left wing and crosses it in for Bruno Guimaraes, and Guimaraes gets his head onto it and puts it top corner. And it was almost like I don't know if you've ever seen the show, and I got this from a meme on Instagram or Twitter. It's like, do you remember Split or Steel? Similar to that. And Newcastle definitely went for Steel. Leicester definitely went for Split. But yeah, Newcastle they've done well to get out of the relegation places. Obviously, we all know that the January transfers have helped them hugely and are a big reason why they are safe. But I also think they probably would have stayed up without the January signings too, because I think Eddie Howe has improved the team even without the signings. Because if you remember, Trippier's been injured. Yeah, I think he's only played about 5 games for Newcastle. And again, Dan Burn was injured yesterday, I think. But no, was he? No, Burn played. Sorry, what am I on about? Who was I thinking? I'll forget it. I've just had a brain fart completely. But Eddie Howe definitely has improved the team. That decision of putting Joe Linton in midfield has been massive for how they've improved, as it's a position that he's much more suited to. Leicester, again, a disappointing result, but their aim for the season now is to try and win the Europa Conference League. Nothing else to really play for. But I'm sure they'll give it their best. But yeah, other than that, it wasn't the greatest game to watch here. I was sat there in the second half just thinking, when does Chelsea Crystal Palace start? It was one of them. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.